The vast darkness of space stretched endlessly, punctuated by distant starlight when the human research vessel Horizon emerged from its quantum jump. Commander Jae-hyun Park stood at the bridge, his dark eyes scanning the holographic displays that flickered with unfamiliar sensor readings. "Something's out there," whispered Yoonbi Kim, the ship's lead communications specialist. Her fingers danced across the quantum interface, triangulating the strange energy signatures that seemed to pulse just beyond their visual range. Suddenly, a massive shadow eclipsed their view, a sleek, crystalline spacecraft unlike anything humanity had ever encountered materialized before them. Its surface shimmered with intricate geometric patterns that seemed to breathe and shift with an almost living quality. "Incoming transmission," announced the ship's AI system. The language was incomprehensible at first, a series of mathematical equations and harmonic frequencies that initially sounded like pure noise. Jae-hyun leaned forward, his scientific training kicking in. Most humans would panic, but he saw an opportunity. Where others might see threat, he saw first contact. Yoonbi worked rapidly, her fingers implementing advanced translation algorithms developed during years of xenolinguistic research. Slowly, the alien communication began to take shape. Words emerged, not spoken but mathematically constructed. Unregistered species detected. Identify purpose of spatial intrusion. The alien communication was clinical, devoid of emotion. It felt more like a computational query than a conversation. Jae-hyun spoke calmly. "We are humans from planet Earth. We come in peace and seek knowledge." The response was immediate. A complex holographic representation appeared, showing multiple star systems, intricate network lines, and a small, barely visible dot representing Earth's location. Primitive civilization. Technological capacity. Level 2.7. Potential threat. Assessment. Minimal. Yoonbi couldn't help but smile. Humans had been underestimated before, and they always found a way to surprise. The alien vessel, which they would later learn belonged to the Galactic Confederation, maintained a careful distance. Its sensors continuously scanned the horizon, analyzing every microscopic detail of the human ship. What the aliens didn't know was that the horizon itself was a marvel of human engineering. Equipped with adaptive quantum shielding and a revolutionary propulsion system, it represented humanity's most advanced exploration technology. Jae-hyun noticed something peculiar. The alien systems seemed hesitant, not just cautious, but almost confused by human unpredictability. Where most species in the Galactic Confederation followed strict, predictable protocols, humans introduced an element of chaos. "We request cultural and scientific exchange," Jae-hyun transmitted, using a combination of mathematical sequences and linguistic patterns designed to demonstrate intellectual complexity. The alien response took several minutes, an eternity in quantum communication standards. When it arrived, the message was surprisingly nuanced. Preliminary authorization granted. Limited information exchange permitted. Unbi looked at Jae-hyun, her eyes sparkling with excitement. This wasn't just first contact. This was the beginning of something unprecedented. Unknown to both humans and the alien confederation, this moment would become a pivotal point in galactic history. Humanity was about to introduce a revolutionary variable into a carefully maintained cosmic ecosystem. The horizon hung in space, a small but defiant testament to human curiosity and technological ambition. Behind its sleek exterior, complex systems hummed with potential, ready to challenge everything the Galactic Confederation thought they knew about emerging civilizations. As the initial communication protocols continued, Jae-hyun realized they were writing the first chapter of humanity's cosmic narrative, not through military might or aggressive expansion, but through pure, unbridled scientific curiosity. The alien vessel continued its careful observation, its advanced sensors trying to decode the complex, seemingly random patterns of human communication and technological design. What they saw confused them. A species that didn't follow expected evolutionary trajectories. A civilization that seemed to rewrite its own rules constantly. First contact had begun. and nothing would ever be the same again. 3 months after the initial encounter, the research team led by Hyun Choi worked tirelessly in a secluded laboratory. The quantum communication prototype sat on a pristine white table, looking deceptively simple, a small metallic cube with soft blue lighting. Elena Rodriguez adjusted her glasses, her fingers hovering over the device's interface. She understood. Something profound was about to happen. The cube represented more than just technology. It was humanity's response to the alien confederation's dismissal. Activation sequence initiated, Hyun announced quietly. The device hummed. At first, nothing seemed different. Then, impossibly, the quantum communication cube began transmitting data across impossible distances, instantaneously. No time lag, no signal degradation, pure perfect information transfer. The alien research director, Corral, received the transmission light years away. His advanced sensory apparatus couldn't comprehend the signal's complexity. Humans had just achieved something considered mathematically impossible by galactic standards. Within milliseconds, the cube transmitted complex scientific formulas, technological schematics, and mathematical proofs that challenged everything the Galactic Confederation understood about communication technologies. Hyun watched the data stream with calculated calmness. Each transmission was a deliberate message. Humans were not primitive, they were different. The quantum cube worked on principles unknown to the alien confederation. It didn't just send information, it restructured data at the quantum level, creating communication pathways that seemed to bend the fundamental rules of physics. Elena's algorithm had something revolutionary at its core: adaptive learning systems that could interpret and translate complex information in real time. The cube wasn't just a communication device. It was an intelligent, evolving network. On the alien research station, alarms began blinking, sensors overloaded. Computer systems struggled to process the incoming data. What was this? A communication method or an invasion of information? Corral watched in growing unease. Humans had developed something extraordinary, a technology that didn't just communicate, but transformed the very understanding of communication itself. The quantum cube continued its transmission. Scientific equations danced across alien screens. Technological designs emerged that made their own advanced systems look primitive. Humans were showing, not telling, their potential. Impossible, muttered Corral, his multi-dimensional sensory organs struggling to comprehend the incoming data. Back on Earth, Hyun and Elena exchanged a quiet smile. They knew they had just changed everything. The transmission lasted exactly 47 minutes. When it ended, the alien research station was in complete disarray. Their most advanced analysts couldn't fully decode or understand the human transmission. What they did understand terrified them. Humans were not just another emerging civilization. They were something entirely unexpected. The quantum communication cube represented more than technology. It was a statement, a declaration that humanity would not be defined by current limitations. They would create their own path, their own understanding of scientific possibility. Corral transmitted an urgent message to the Galactic Confederation's Central Command. The message was simple but carried enormous weight. Humans are not what we predicted. Recommend immediate comprehensive analysis. News of the transmission spread quickly through alien research networks. Discussions, debates, and growing concern replaced their previous dismissive attitude toward humans. Hyun powered down the quantum cube. To him, it was just the beginning. Humanity had countless more surprises waiting. Elena documented every aspect of the transmission, knowing they had just written a new chapter in human scientific history. The small metallic cube with soft blue lighting sat quietly, looking completely ordinary. But it had just demonstrated that ordinary was a concept humans were ready to redefine. In research stations, spacecraft, and communication centers across the galaxy, one question began to emerge. Who were these humans and what else were they capable of? The technological challenge had been issued. and humanity had made its first powerful response. The Alien Confederation's response was swift and calculated. They initiated a technological blockade, attempting to limit human space exploration and communication capabilities. Small energy disruption fields appeared around Earth's orbital zones, designed to suppress advanced technological development. Seok Yoon, a brilliant military strategist, watched the initial interference with calm precision. His team of researchers and engineers had anticipated such a move. While other nations panicked, they prepared their counter-strategy. Jiwoo Lee, the lead technological innovator, had already developed adaptive shield technologies that could not just resist, but actively learn from the alien interference. Each energy pulse sent by the Confederation was immediately analyzed, its frequency decoded, and a counter mechanism developed within minutes. "They think they're playing chess," Seok muttered, "but we're playing a game they don't even understand." The first major confrontation happened unexpectedly. A Confederation patrol ship attempted to establish a dampening field near Earth's lunar research stations. Before they could complete their interference, human satellites redirected the energy, creating a massive feedback loop that temporarily disabled the alien vessel. Jiwoo's adaptive AI systems were revolutionary. They didn't just defend, they learned. Each alien technological attempt was instantly transformed into a potential human advantage. Where the Confederation saw suppression, humans saw opportunity. Military analysts worldwide collaborated through secure quantum networks. They shared insights, developed strategies, and created a global response mechanism that was fluid, unpredictable, and incredibly fast. The Alien Confederation had managed complex galactic relationships for thousands of years. They operated on predictable protocols, established communication patterns, and hierarchical decision-making processes. Humans introduced something entirely different, chaotic, creative, and impossible to fully predict. Seok understood their fundamental strategy: make human technological response so complex and adaptive that traditional suppression techniques would fail. They weren't just defending, they were evolving their entire technological ecosystem in real time. Jiwoo's team developed nanoscale adaptive shields that could redistribute incoming energy interference across multiple frequency ranges. What was meant to disable human technology instead became additional power sources for their systems. Communication intercepts revealed growing confusion within the Alien Confederation. Their advanced systems, designed to categorize and control emerging civilizations, couldn't process human unpredictability. "They expected us to be linear," Seok explained during a global strategy meeting. "Instead, we're operating on multiple simultaneous strategic levels." The Confederation's initial blockade not only failed but provided humans with unprecedented technological insights. Each attempted interference became a learning opportunity. Each suppression attempt a chance to develop more advanced defensive mechanisms. Within weeks, human orbital technologies had transformed. Satellites became living, adaptive networks. Communication systems could instantaneously reroute, reshape, and reinforce themselves. What was meant to be a technological prison became a catalyst for unprecedented human innovation. Jiwoo's most significant breakthrough was a self-replicating, adaptive network that could instantaneously share technological innovations across global research platforms. A technological advancement in one research center could be implemented worldwide within minutes. The Alien Confederation realized they had made a critical miscalculation. Humans weren't just resisting, they were using resistance as a method of accelerated technological evolution. Strategic meetings within the Confederation became increasingly tense. Traditional containment protocols were failing. Humans were transforming every technological challenge into an opportunity for growth. Seok Yoon's final report to global leadership was simple. They tried to suppress us. Instead, they've just taught us how to become something they never expected. As the first phase of technological resistance concluded, humanity had sent a clear message to the Galactic Confederation. Underestimation would be their most significant error. The small blue planet that was once considered a primitive civilization had just demonstrated that creativity, adaptability, and collective innovation could challenge even the most advanced technological systems in the known universe. Resistance was not just about defense, For humans, it was a pathway to unprecedented transformation. The diplomatic conference hall was unlike anything the Galactic Confederation had ever seen. Mina Han stood at the center, her presence commanding attention despite being surrounded by representatives from hundreds of advanced civilizations. David Thompson, the cultural interpreter, stood quietly beside her. His role was more than translation. He was a bridge between human complexity and alien understanding. The senior Confederation ambassador Trell approached with calculated movements. His multidimensional perception tried to analyze Mina, but human nuance defied his traditional scanning techniques. "We request a comprehensive review of interstellar engagement protocols," Mina began, her voice steady and precise. The translation wasn't just linguistic. It was a carefully constructed mathematical and emotional algorithm that conveyed layers of meaning beyond simple words. Each sentence carried multiple interpretative possibilities, challenging the Confederation's rigid communication structures. David watched as alien representatives struggled. Humans had transformed diplomacy into an art form that went beyond traditional negotiation. They weren't just presenting arguments. They were reshaping the entire conceptual framework of interstellar communication. Mina's presentation wasn't a typical diplomatic briefing. It was a complex tapestry of scientific achievements, cultural insights, and strategic propositions. She demonstrated how human adaptability could solve problems that had challenged the Confederation for millennia. The Confederation's historical records showed numerous emerging civilizations. Most followed predictable paths: technological development, resource acquisition, territorial expansion. Humans were different. They proposed collaborative models that emphasized mutual growth rather than competitive dominance. Ambassador Trell's sensory apparatus detected something unprecedented. Mina wasn't just negotiating, she was fundamentally challenging their entire understanding of civilizational development. Human diplomatic approaches introduced concepts like adaptive problem-solving, collective innovation, and holistic resource management. These weren't just theoretical concepts. They were demonstrated through actual technological and social achievements. The conference hall became a battleground of ideas. Where traditional alien diplomacy relied on established protocols, humans brought creative, non-linear thinking. Each Confederation representative found themselves intellectually challenged in ways they had never experienced. David's translation wasn't just linguistic conversion. He transformed complex human concepts into frameworks that alien civilizations could comprehend. Emotional nuance, cultural context, and strategic depth were woven into every communication. Mina revealed humanity's unique perspective. They didn't see the universe as a competition, but as a collaborative ecosystem. Their technological developments weren't just about personal advancement, but about solving collective challenges. The Confederation's senior leadership watched in growing fascination. Humans were presenting a completely new model of civilizational interaction, one that didn't follow any previously recorded developmental pattern. Strategic proposals included joint research initiatives, shared technological platforms, and collaborative exploration frameworks. These weren't just diplomatic suggestions. They were revolutionary conceptual models that challenged existing galactic relationship structures. Ambassador Trell realized something profound. Humans weren't seeking acceptance. They were offering a new perspective on interstellar cooperation. As the conference progressed, alien representatives found themselves increasingly engaged. Human delegates didn't just present arguments, they invited intellectual exploration. Each discussion became a dynamic, evolving conversation that transformed traditional diplomatic boundaries. The Confederation's communication networks buzzed with unprecedented activity. Analysts tried to categorize the human approach, but it defied traditional classification methods. Mina's final statement was her most powerful. She demonstrated how human diversity, creativity, and adaptability could solve complex challenges that had stymied the Confederation for generations. "We're not asking to join your system," she explained. "We're proposing we redesign it together." The diplomatic hall fell into a profound silence. Something fundamental had changed. The Galactic Confederation was experiencing a transformation they had never anticipated. Humans had just introduced a new paradigm of interstellar engagement, one built on collaboration, creativity, and collective potential. The diplomatic transformation was complete, and nothing would remain the same. Jin-Ho Park stood in the research facility, surrounded by holographic displays that flickered with impossible data. The quantum telescope had captured something extraordinary, a pattern in cosmic background, radiation that defied all known scientific understanding. Yuna Kim reviewed the calculations, her hands moving rapidly across the quantum interface. What they had discovered was more than just scientific data. It was a fundamental revelation about humanity's place in the universe. The Galactic Confederation's High Council watched the transmission with growing uncertainty. The human research team was presenting evidence that challenged everything they knew about cosmic evolution, species development, and universal mechanics. "We're not just another emerging civilization," Jin-Ho explained calmly. The holographic display showed intricate patterns of energy, quantum entanglement, and mathematical sequences that seemed to pulse with living complexity. The discovery was multi-layered. Humans had found evidence of a fundamental connection between consciousness, technological development, and cosmic structure. It wasn't just a scientific breakthrough. It was a complete reimagining of universal principles. Yuna's research suggested that human adaptability wasn't an accident. It was a rare cosmic potential, a unique ability to transform, learn, and evolve at speeds unprecedented in galactic history. The Confederation's senior researchers struggled to comprehend the implications. Humans were demonstrating an understanding of universal mechanics that went beyond technological achievement. They were revealing a deeper, more complex relationship with the cosmos itself. Jin-Ho's presentation showed how human creativity was not just a biological trait, but a fundamental cosmic mechanism. Their ability to imagine, create, and transform was connected to deeper quantum principles that most civilizations had overlooked. The holographic displays showed complex interactions between consciousness, technological development, and universal energy patterns. Humans weren't just observing the universe. They were showing they could potentially interact with its fundamental structures. Yuna revealed research that suggested human DNA contained adaptive mechanisms that could potentially interface directly with quantum information networks. It was as if humans were designed to be cosmic translators, bridging different levels of universal understanding. The Galactic Confederation's High Council watched in growing amazement. What they had considered a primitive species was revealing itself to be something entirely unexpected. Jin-Ho's final presentation was breathtaking. Humans weren't just another civilization. They were a potential key to understanding the universe's most complex mysteries. The research suggested that human creativity, their ability to imagine impossible things and then make them real, was a rare cosmic capability. Most civilizations followed predictable developmental paths. Humans constantly rewrote their own potential. Yuna demonstrated how human technological development wasn't linear. It was a complex, adaptive system that could transform entire technological paradigms in moments. Where other civilizations saw limitations, humans saw opportunities. The Confederation realized they were witnessing something unprecedented. Humans were presenting themselves not as a species to be categorized, but as a potential cosmic partner in understanding universal complexity. Jin-Ho's final statement was simple but profound. "We're not just discovering the universe," he explained. "We're learning how to communicate with its fundamental structure." The research facility fell silent. The holographic displays continued to pulse with complex, living information, a testament to human potential. The cosmic revelation was complete. Humans had shown they were something entirely unexpected, a species with the potential to transform not just their own civilization, but potentially the understanding of universal mechanics itself. The Galactic Confederation faced a choice. They could continue to see humans as a threat, or they could recognize them as a unique transformative force in the cosmic ecosystem. As the transmission ended, one thing became clear. Humanity was not just another emerging civilization. They were a fundamental cosmic mechanism, unpredictable, creative, and filled with potential beyond traditional understanding. The universe had just been reminded that the most powerful force of transformation is not technology, but imagination. And humans were masters of imagination.